Hey guys, it's Katie at scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and I have a 2-page layout to share using the new Sweet as Honey collection from Close to My Heart. So I'm going to start off by adding some of this spiced marmalade to the base of my layout. And really only the top and the bottom of this section is going to show. So that's why I kind of started off in the middle and I'm working myself up. And then of course, if you're not used to working with Distress Oxides, the more you work with it, the less you'll be able to see those harsh circles that you're seeing right now. So you just kind of got to go over it and over it, pick up some more. And then the reason they're called Distress Oxides is because I'm going to add some water droplets here in a second, and it basically removes the color where the water touches. So I'm just going to continue to do this, and then again, this is a 2-page layout, so I'm going to go ahead and work on the other one as well, and then I'll come back and show you the water droplets and how that looks. Okay, so we've got that finished, and then I just have a spray bottle here. There are several methods to applying the water. I'm going to do a couple because you get a different look. But you can spray some water in there, and then you can just kind of squeeze your palm, and it just kind of makes large droplets. But then I also want to actually spray. And depending on what kind of look, again, what kind of look you want, is the method that you're going to use. And all that does is that water just removes that color. So we've got that. And to aid in the process, if I had a lot of time, I would just probably allow this to dry on its own. But to aid in the process, I am going to use a heat gun to kind of dry everything. And then, oops, I am also going to add some black droplets. And all I've done is I've just squeezed some black re-inker in a little tray, and I have a dry water brush. And I'm just going to add droplets all over. And I actually want to come over here in the white space as well and add some. The majority of this page will be hidden, but I definitely wanted just a little bit over here in the white space. So we've got that, and again, like I said, I'm going to use my heat gun. I'm going to speed this up so you don't have to listen to it, but I'm going to use my heat gun, and then it also helps if you flip your project over and also dry from the back side as well. Okay, so we've got that, and then here is that second page that I've also done. So I am going to ink distress just a couple of these pieces. This black cardstock, I just kind of want to add black ink around the edge. We do have black core cardstock, but for this one I just grabbed what was in the coordinating cardstock for Sweet as Honey, and it was the white cardstock. So I usually like to cover that up. And then this gorgeous Hexagon pattern paper, I'm going to add some black ink around it too. And I prefer the sponging. It's a softer method. You could definitely take the ink pad directly to the paper itself. That's just a harder look to me. So, got that, and then I'm actually going to edge distress this piece. And I've got an edge distressor. You can also use your scissors. Let me show you how that's done. You just want to be extremely careful, especially if you're using, pardon me, especially if you're using some of our micro tip scissors, because they're extremely sharp. But you can do it with anything if you don't have a tool that's meant for edge distressing. So to assemble, it basically is, and I'll leave all these measurements down below, but basically it's just left to right. I am going to bring out my Versamat just to make sure that things are lined up. And I like to place just a little bit of adhesive down just to make sure that my layout doesn't move that much. So I've got that glued down. And then instead of these, you definitely could use a 5 by 12 piece. But this actually is one of my favorite patterns. So I opted for the 1/2 inch by 5 inch strips. And we're going to put these at 3 1/4, no, 3 1/2, and 3 1/2. So I sponged all these lighter pieces with toffee ink, just to kind of give them a little bit of that sponge look. Can't really tell. You definitely could go with the shortbread, but I kind of wanted to just pull out one ink and just get it done. So there's that 1 inch strip. And then we've got this big piece. This measures 10 inches long. And so we are going to put it at the 1 inch mark and 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this other B paper first, and then we'll start building on top of this. And let me pull out my T-ruler just to make sure that this is lined up with its counterpart over there. And then the last piece is this other little 1/2 by 5. And again, it's at the 3 1/2. Like that. And then we can start building on here, and this is where my photos will go. So we want this one down first. So it's just going to go about 1/2 inch above this Hexagon pattern paper and 1/2 inch below, and kind of centered left to right. And then we're going to come back in with the shortbread, and you can see there how that toffee ink just looks on that shortbread piece of cardstock. And I'm using the light side, and again it's the same principle. Make sure there's the equal distance up at the top and the bottom, and then centered left to right. And then the black is going to get sandwiched on top of that, and the black is a little bit wider. And so again, if you wanted to conserve cardstock, you could just do these little bitty strips, but I have plenty of shortbread cardstock, so I'm not worried about that. So for my photos, I'm using 4 by 4 white photo mats, and I've just trimmed my photos down just slightly to 3 7/8. And then I'm just centering left to right, top to bottom, so they have an equal black mat around them. And this little piece is going to serve as my journaling. And I think I do want to go ahead and edge distress that as well, just to be consistent. And it's going to go centered right here. Eyeballing it, not really pulling out my T-ruler or anything. And then I am going to add some stickers from the sticker sheet, and then some of those cute cork shapes. So let's do this keyhole, the key to happiness. And then there's this little postage stamp. And then this little bee, and I actually want to take the sticky off of the bee using my anti-static pouch so I can pop dot it with some adhesive. And then let's do one of these little swirly things. I don't even know what those are called, but I love stickers. It makes it super easy to embellish. Let's pull this up right quick so I can add this underneath here. And then add some 3D foam. And then there's kind of a large title. Love goes on forever. I'm going to take the adhesive off of that one as well and use some 3D foam tape. Okay, so we've got several. These are just so adorable. And I love that they have adhesive. They're already backed with adhesive. So that's always good. So we'll put that right there. And it seems to be super sticky. Usually if I'm using adhesive backed anything, I try to actually also apply adhesive. But I don't really think it's going to be necessary here. And that right there. And then I love that you've also got open ones as well. I'm just adding some journaling lines by lining up the T-ruler on the edge of my Versamat. And I'm doing that before I stick some of these cork shapes around these little groupings. And I think that is probably enough. So we've got this one with the little heart cut out. Isn't that just so cute? I just love it. Let's put it closer to this little bee. And then let's do a little bitty tiny hexagon. Okay, so I finished off those cork shapes. And then I think I'm going to put this, drew just a little bit too many lines, but I think I want to put it right here, and I've got 3D foam tape over that. And then I'm going to put my happy place. Actually, nope, too late. I'm I'm going to actually get some thin 3D foam tape to put under that one. So that is pretty much it. I did add some 3D foam tape behind that one. And then of course I will journal right there. And then the second layout comes together much like the first one by starting to layer these little 1/2-inch strips over here off to the side, starting at 3.5 inches. And then we're just going to layer left to right. And then of course the photo wells are the same process and same layering as the other one. Okay, so I finished this one off camera. Let me just point out a couple of things that you probably didn't see. I brought in this little grouping right here, and then I also brought in some black enamel dots. Now those actually come with the Sweet as Honey card kit, which is super cute. And so I put those there. I brought in a sticker that says remember. I moved that B, remember that B was down here. I moved it up here. And then I added some enamel dots there to keep with the triangle. And then I also, because enamel dots was kind of an afterthought, I brought them over to this first layout I did. So you can see them there, right there, and then right here. And I love how they really tie in really well with those black splatters that I did with the re-inker. So there is that. I will leave dimensions down below. So you can make your own if you're interested, as well as links to any of the products that I use. They are still available because they are brand spanking new as of January 1st. And again, this is the Sweet as Honey collection from Close to My Heart. Just want to thank you guys for stopping by and watching. If you liked what you saw, please leave a comment and a thumbs up. And if you aren't already a subscriber, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and sign up for notifications so you don't miss another crafty video. Thanks and have a great week.